So when we're talking about leading a healthy life and finding balance, a healthy balance in our life, we are talking about feeling like that we are successful in all areas of our life that contribute to our overall health. And then to the right there, you can see a list of the areas that really contribute to our overall health. So it's our health, it's our physical activity, it's home cooking, it's our home environment, it's relationships, our social life, joy that we feel, spirituality, creativity, finances, career, and education. So when we're trying to find a healthy balance in life, we can think of it as we're riding on a wheel or we're riding a tire. And so if you look at this example of two very different tires, which one do you think is going to get you where you want to go most efficiently? So I would say if you were thinking about that, I think most of us would choose the tire on the left, right? It's in good shape, it's perfectly round, and it's going to get us to where we want to go most efficiently. The tire on the right is a little misshapen, and while we might still be able to get where we're going on this tire, we're definitely not going to get there most efficiently. It's going to take us longer. It may even involve some pain in riding on a tire like that. So we really want, I just wanted to give you all this visual. We want for our wheel, which we're going to talk about in just a few minutes, we want our wheel to be as symmetrical as possible. And so that's what we're going to talk about a bit more in just a few minutes. So when you received the reminder for today's webinar, there was an attachment, and I hope that you have the attachment. If you don't, though, no big deal. We can go through this together, but I would like for you to go through this activity with me. I think it's very powerful. I think you will be able to, it gives you a very good visual of kind of where you are in each of these areas of health. And so the instruction is just to place a dot, as you can see here on the wheel to the right, a dot or a number. You can give yourself a number as well, where you feel you are currently on this wheel. So an example here is finances. I've given myself a dot fairly close to the perimeter. And so this the middle area is where you may feel you're not doing so well. So let's say a number, that would be a 0. If you feel like you're doing great in finances, maybe a 10, let's say, you're way out here on the perimeter. So you just want to give yourself a dot or a number somewhere on this line for each of the categories. As you can see, I have physical activity closer to the perimeter. I have my social life closer to the 0. So it's basically like dissatisfaction here. I'm very satisfied out closer to the perimeter. Now I'm gonna give everybody just a couple minutes. So if you didn't print out the handout, you can just do this, maybe draw it real quickly, or even just list it out and give yourself maybe a rating for each one of these areas. And I'm gonna give everybody just about a minute to do that real quickly, and then we'll move on. Also, again, if you have any questions as we're going through this, please feel free, as I said in the beginning, to hit the chat box, hit me up with any questions that you might have. And I'm going to give everybody just to about 2:07, which is about 1 minute, and then I will get started with the next piece of this activity. Okay, so as you can see, I've already kind of gone to the next slide, and now we want to connect the dots. And so I would like for you, if you've done this circle activity, connect those dots, and you'll be able to see pretty quickly where your areas of imbalance may be. And as you can see, this on this example, it's kind of misshapen. It's not a very good circle here. It's not a very good wheel. This would be very close to the example we saw at the beginning, the wheel to the right, the wheel that's not going to get us where we're going most efficiently. And these imbalances will help you determine where you need to spend more time in order to bring your wheel back into some balance. So now we're just going to talk a bit about, continuing to find a healthy balance. So we've got to the right here, you can see all of our areas that we just rated ourselves. But then some questions to the left that I would like for you to just spend some time thinking about right now as I go through them. So first off, success in these different areas is measured by you. And you get to decide what does success feel like. So for instance, let's use physical activity as an example. Let's say I have not exercised in the past 10 years, and now I'm walking 5 or 10 minutes every day. Well, that is success for me because I am now doing something that will help my overall health. For someone else, they may exercise every day, and so maybe they're doing some other things to increase their physical activity, or the how difficult it is, or the length of time, or that sort of thing. So first off, I want you to just always remember that we shouldn't be judging ourselves based on what others are doing. We should just be judging how we are getting better. If I'm getting better, that's how you determine your success. You get to set that. When you're looking at the assessment you just did, were there any surprises for you? I would like for you to think about that, and of course jot it down. Were there any surprises that you saw? Are there some areas, maybe there's some categories here that you had never really thought about affecting how you feel on a daily basis or your health? And so maybe that's the surprise. So please list down or write down any surprises that you may have had. How do you feel when you look at your wheel, when you see the shape of the wheel? Is that a surprise for you? How does that make you feel? Do you feel like, wow, I have quite a few areas that I could potentially see some improvement in? How do you currently spend your time in these areas? A lot of times we will see that when we have some areas that we're struggling, we may not be spending very much time in those areas of our life. And so thinking about that can be a really good thing. Making a list of areas in which you would like to improve. So identifying that is very helpful. And I think the visual helps us do that pretty clearly. It helps us see areas in which we could use some improvement. How can you make space for these changes? So we talked about, if we want to spend a little bit more time in these areas, how am I going to do that? How am I going to make space for that? And then what help from others might you need? A lot of times when we're trying to get healthier and make healthier choices for ourselves, we need help from others. Having that accountability partner can be huge. Depending on our family members, can be huge. Those are ways that we can make big changes in our lives. So when we're talking about health, there are some building blocks for helping us stay balanced. And so here is my list of the building blocks: nutrition, physical activity, sleep, stress, healthy mind and feelings, empowerment, and planning. And so what we will see is when we make improvements in these areas, we will tend to see improvements everywhere in the things that affect our health. And so I'm going to go through each one of these, and we're going to ask ourselves some questions in each of these areas. So let's start with nutrition. So here's some questions that you can ask yourself to see how you're doing in this area. So how would you rate the quality and the variety of the foods that you're eating right now? How do you feel when your diet is healthier? How often do you plan your meals? How healthy is your meal prep? And how healthy are your eating habits? So since you're in this group, in the diabetes prevention program, I know that you've worked with your coaches on trying to understand and improve in this area of nutrition. It's definitely something that we talk a lot about, and that we also give you lots of tools and strategies for success in this area. But if you feel maybe you're struggling here, these are some great questions to kind of get yourself back to some of the basics. And for all the areas that I'm about to discuss, these building blocks, please reach out to your coach, whether that's me or another coach in this program. Reach out to us, because we definitely have tools and strategies for your success. And we would love to be able to help you either get back on track or stay on track, because our goal for you is to definitely find the balance that you need for a healthier life. Our second building block is physical activity. So here are some other questions that we could ask about that. So how often am I exercising each week? In this DPP program, of course, there is a goal. We're trying to work up to that 150 minutes a week. And so where are you with that? Do you need to do more? Do you need to do less? I mean, where are you for that goal? What exercises, what type of exercises are you doing? Is it something that you enjoy? If not, you're likely not going to continue that. So finding things that you enjoy can be a great way to increase that exercise. Are you active or sedentary throughout your day? Thinking about that can be a great way to motivate yourself to maybe get a little bit more active. And then what obstacles are getting in your way for exercising? Trying to identify those and then removing those can be a great way to find more time or find a physical activity that you enjoy. Our next building block is around sleep. Sleep is such an important piece of our overall health. We just had one of our coaches, Coach Carolyn, just completed a webinar around sleep, which was fantastic. And so, if you did not have a chance to see that, here are some questions that you can ask yourself around your sleep regimen. So how many hours of sleep are you getting each night? would you rate how would you rate the quality of your sleep? The quantity is important, but also the quality of the sleep that you're getting is equally important. And so how would you rate that? Do you have a healthy sleep ritual? And so by that, I mean like a routine that you follow each evening that signifies to your mind and your body that it's time to wind down and get to sleep. And so having some sort of routine is important. How would you describe your sleep environment? How often do you have a hard time falling back asleep? That's an important question as well. Stress is another thing that definitely plays a big part in our overall health. And so getting some coping skills and some strategies around stress management is very important. So here are a few questions with regard to that. So how would you rate your stress level? How would you rate your coping skills with regard to stress? How are you currently managing your stress? And how is stress affecting your mental and physical health? Our next building block is around having a healthy mind and feelings. And so here are a few questions that you can ask yourself here. So, do you have a positive attitude, or do you struggle with negativity and discouragement? How would you describe your internal self-talk? How would you describe your mood, your overall mood? And last, do you have some sort of gratitude practice? There's been so much research out there that having some sort of gratitude practice can make a huge difference in our attitude, whether we have a positive or a negative attitude. And then, of course, all these things kind of tie together. Depending on our attitude, that can play a big role in our ability to manage and cope with stress. So they're all interconnected, all of these things, and make a difference to our overall health. Lastly, we have empowerment and planning. So as you all know, as part of this program, we put together our action plans at the end of each session to help us achieve the goals that we have for ourselves. And so the planning piece is very important. So my questions here for you are, do you plan for success? Do you actually have a plan for the goals that you set for yourself? Do you tend to jump right in and just hope for the best? Do you tend to use the resources that are available to you? And do you tend to go at new opportunities alone? So again, I hope that you've been able to answer some of these questions for yourself. And I really encourage you to contact your coach, whomever you're working with, to help you maybe brainstorm through some of the challenges that you may be facing right now with regard to finding balance and some of these important building blocks for balance. So lastly here, before we kind of get into the question and answer phase, I would like for you, if you would go back and look at your wheel of life, I would like for you to choose 1 to 3 areas in which you would like to see some change. For this person in this example, it looks like creativity might be one where there's needs some work. Possibly some finances, maybe the career. So just whatever that might be for you. And then here are just a few more questions that you can ask yourself with regard to making these changes. So how would changes in these areas affect your overall health? So let's say take creativity for an example. Let's say I'm able to begin doing things that allow me to be a little bit more creative. Well, that may push up my joy. My joy number may go higher. My relationship number may go higher. So you can see how when you work in one area, it can actually, it's tied to these other areas and can potentially push those out as well to help you become more balanced in your overall health. My second question is, what empowerment and planning strategies need to be in place in order for you to succeed? So it's one thing to identify the area in which you would want to have some change. It's a different, kind of entirely different thing to actually put some action around that. And so I gave you a few little examples here. So the action plan that we use in this program is fantastic, and I think is very helpful when it comes to setting some goals for yourself and some actions for yourself in order to create some change. SMART goals are very similar and can be helpful as well. Adding things to your calendar, that's kind of where the planning comes into place. If it's not on your calendar, a lot of times it doesn't happen. And so making some space in your schedule can be something that's very helpful when we're trying to make some changes around some areas in our life. Prioritizing these things, prioritizing yourself, prioritizing your health, very important. And then last but not least, enlist help and accountability. You know, you have us, the coaches, that are definitely here to help you. But also, I mean, just in telling someone in your home about these changes that you want to make and some of your goals, and enlisting help from a friend or a family member, or of course your coach, can be very, very beneficial in helping you achieve your goals.